The last call of the day yesterday was a gentleman who has made the news for a variety of reasons, and that's Mr. Jim Learning up in Labrador. Now, we won't get into the reasons for why he well, I guess we can. So Mr. Learning, of course, has serious environmental concerns based on the development of the Churchill River at Muskrat Falls, whether it be the methylmercury and otherwise. He has been charged, of course, for disobeying a court order and going on to the property of an Alcor, and you know the rest, and that was a huge big deal. But he said in our conversation that not only does he feel like Labrador has been marginalized and left behind for investment and otherwise, that he says, given their opportunities to generate wealth, create jobs, and the fact that he says they've been left behind, he says it's high time for the folks in Labrador to consider the moves made by those who inhabit the territories of the country, none of two of it and others. So, separating. Talking about separating. He's not the only one in Labrador who thinks it. And good morning to the folks in Labrador. Is that really a prevalent thought going on in Labrador? The opportunity, the reality, the potential of separating from the island? Having your own territory? If it is, I wonder, and I'll ask aloud, what are the realities of how much money has been invested in Labrador when we discuss the population of that part of the province, and whether or not it has been treated fairly or not? The predominant thought is that Labrador has not been treated fairly, is an afterthought, second-class citizens. Investment does not reflect what they contribute to the province. I'm not so sure that's true. I'm not so sure that's true. Now, as in everything politics, the perception is the reality. If people in Labrador feel that way, then it doesn't matter who tells them about how many hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars have been invested in Labrador. They feel like they have been left out. It goes even further than that. They insinuate, in some regard, and to me, that we don't care about them. Period. They think that people on the island couldn't care less about the folks in Labrador on any front. Once again, I think that's the exaggeration, same thing we suffer with the Townie and Bayman rift. But the conversation about Labrador separating, that's only getting more momentum. Is it a legitimate thought? Well, who am I to tell them what's legitimate or not? But it's out there. If you're in Labrador this morning, do you think it is a reasonable position to want to separate? Do you think that the investment in Labrador is legitimately that far behind? Or is that what people lead you to believe? Or is it a fact? I'm not so sure it is. The investment in Labrador is real. Is it enough to satisfy the folks in Labrador? Obviously not. The one thing they go back to all the time is state of the roads. It's a legitimate comeback once again to say that the state of the roads on the island are treacherous as well. Now, we don't have the hundreds of kilometers of dirt, pothole-ridden, riddled, terrible roads in some of the parts of Labrador. But boy, oh boy, everyone's got their ills and evils when it comes to the road. So if you want to talk about it from Labrador, I think that's completely reasonable.